Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
Welcome to the Bottom Line Sports Show, an inside look at all game day sports action, from Major League Baseball to college football and basketball, the NFL and the NBA, key matchups, developments, point spreads and totals, line changes and game analysis. It's a radio show that talks its name. The Bottom Line from San Diego. It's game time with the Bottom Line Sports Show. And we welcome you. It is the Bottom Line Sports Show live from San Diego on this Sunday morning. It's Selection Sunday. The long and winding road of college basketball ends today for the selection show. Who's in, who's out, who's on the bubble, and who's ingrained into the dance party. One team that is right here locally, the Aztecs from San Diego State, ladies and gentlemen. They are dancing and prancing away as San Diego State wins the Mountain West tournament in the Thomas and Mack at Las Vegas, Nevada. And Matty B is joining us at the top of the hour, live from Boston, from radio controls, from CBS Central. Selection Sunday headquarters. Matty B, you got all your ins, your outs, who's on the bubble, who's going to need some help from the committee, and all that jazz.
Good morning, Felix. Tommy, WS Radio Nation, Captain. Yeah, we got a lot of madness, but San Diego can breathe easy. They did the hard work, they did the leg work, and they won the conference tournament. Automatic bid, stamped. You're dancing. Congratulations, Aztecs.
Without any doubt, it didn't look good here with about 7 minutes to go. The Aztecs were down by 7, and then Trey Kell went on a run that might have been his best game ever. It actually was a career best for Trey Kell. He ends up with 28, but San Diego State caught fire when they needed to catch fire. It looked like New Mexico was taking over the game. They were full court pressing the entire second half of that game. It was creating some problems for San Diego State, but true to form, San Diego State wins their 10th in a row. Just a marvelous performance. Tommy D, the Aztecs, they're going dancing. We're going to find out which region they head to a little bit later on in the day.
Hey, all right, San Diego. This could be San Diego's best sports team, is the San Diego Aztecs basketball team here in San Diego. So you got to respect that. And you know what? Yesterday, the vibe in the city is these guys are playing well. They're coming together at the right time. So yesterday on the show when we talked about it, and I said the Aztecs were going to make the tournament, I already knew they were going to win, Felix.
You did?
I did. I just, the momentum, and they're playing with the chip on their shoulder, like Matty B said yesterday.
How about that, Matty B? Tommy predicted that the Aztecs were going to win that game.
And that was a great prediction, as it came true, and I sentiment was playing offensively along with defensively. Now, the defense wasn't phenomenal last night, giving up 70-plus points, but it was there when it needed to be. The offense showed up when it needed to be. My question for them is a team that only runs 8, maybe, got one swap for guard, forward, and center. You're going to need a big game out of a Malik Pope. He needs to show up in the tournament for them to win the first game and be able to play the weekend. They're going to be in that kind of situation because they're not going to be a great seed. You know, I'm thinking no higher than what? I think 11?
11.
That's what 11 seed to?
I think that's exactly where they're going to be. I think that the Aztecs will be 11 seed, and they'll match up, what, against the 5?
6.
Against
a 6. So, I mean, it's not a team that's leaps and bounds better than them, but it's a team that's better than them, and they're going to need their guys to show up to get a win on Thursday or Friday.
Isn't that
but they play like they played yesterday? Doesn't matter who they play. If they played like they played, not yesterday, the day before, when they were hitting threes all day long.
Yeah, but they played, as we talked about yesterday, against Nevada. Nevada was decimated.
Nevada.
Was decimated with injuries.
Mm-hmm.
You and I could have made those threes. But let me ask you this, Matty B. Is 11 more likely in the history of the tournament to upset a 6?
No, I think the one that's been more likely recently has been the 12 over the 5 over the last 15 years or so. You're guaranteed. It's like every year at least one, and some years we've seen 3 12s beat the 5s in one tournament. So the 12 over the 5 is the one that's been the head scratcher.
All right, let's go to the captain. Let's bring him into the broadcast. The bottom line, Tommy D, Matty B, the captain. I'm Felix Taverna. A round table of sports on this Sunday morning. We welcome you no matter where you're listening to the radio broadcast. We are here every Saturday and Sunday morning. The bottom line, Selection Sunday, a very, very exciting day for a lot of colleges, basketball coaches, as well as players. Captain, what'd you think about all the yesterday's action within the college ranks?
Well, you look at it and you say, Virginia is number one. They pretty much dominated North Carolina yesterday, and then Kansas. They're getting tough at the right time. They beat West Virginia in the title game there. Arizona, over USC easily. You don't know what the effect of Sean Miller. Maybe it brought that whole team together. I don't know, but it's going to be fun for the next couple of weeks. That's for sure.
That's what I think. Actually, I think that this whole situation that happened at the University of Arizona, Sean Miller, brought this team together because they caught fire at the right time. The final couple games of the Pac-12, and then they rifled through the Pac-12 tournament, and everything seemed to be going great guns for Arizona. Ayton, Matty B, he's a force, isn't he?
Oh no, he's absolutely a force. He's the best. Arguably the best player in all of college basketball. Just his size, his touch, his footwork, what he's able to do around the hoop. And he's not alone down there. Dusan Ristic, who's been there forever now at Arizona, has great touch around the basket as well, plays good defense. Defensively, offensively, down low, there aren't many teams in the country that can hang with Arizona. Arizona's problem is when they stop doing that and they start relying on Raleigh Alkins and they start relying on Alonzo Trier to shoot their outside shots. And that's what ends up taking over the game, and they play hero ball. The way that you would beat, Westbrook and Durant is at the end you knew one of them was getting the ball. If Arizona continues to feed the paint and gets points down low, they are going to be almost impossible to beat in the NCAA tournament because they have that much talent down there and around them. When they play right, they're one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the country.
Yeah, I agree with you totally on that. I think Arizona is a very, very dangerous team. All right, throughout the country we go. Rhode Island playing for the AT championship today. Villanova and Providence was yesterday. Just an incredible game in their own right. Ed Cooley, the head coach of Providence, continues to impress. We go to Houston, took care of Wichita State in the semifinals, so it'll be Houston and Cincinnati. Memphis had a big lead on Cincinnati in the semifinals of the Conference USA, or is that the AAU? That's the AAU. That Memphis AAC. Yeah, AAU is. AAU is that.
The league money you love to hate.
Yeah, that's the money league. That's where you get paid to play.
The league you love to hate.
That's where you get brand new shoes, all new gear. You get envelopes inside your bags.
You want to go out for dinner after the game? Oh yeah, come on over here. Nice steak dinner.
Absolutely. Here's a little envelope for you, kid. Here's $300. All right, don't tell anybody where you got it from. All righty, but that's it's great. Kentucky came alive yesterday. They pummeled Alabama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it took them a little bit to get going, but then once they did, it was no stopping them.
How'd my Arkansas team do?
Your Arkansas team fell to Tennessee, so it'll be Tennessee and Kentucky in the SEC men's tournament.
This is one team I can't figure out. Hold on. This is one team Tennessee. Tell me a little bit about them.
Both of them. I mean, both these teams. Are you shocked that it's Kentucky and Tennessee? No, but it's the route they took to get here that is a little bit surprising. Tennessee being, ranked in the top 15. They got a 25-win season. They're going for a sweep of Kentucky. That's what they have to do here to win the SEC, is to sweep the team they beat in the regular season. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Kentucky wins this one and wins the SEC tournament. I think the way they've played together recently, the way they look like Kentucky.
Who does?
Kentucky. Yesterday, Kentucky, and they looked like Kentucky. I mean, the Kentucky that we've been seeing so much over the last 6 years or so, they looked like that kind of Kentucky team. This is a team with 10 losses. Kentucky this year is not great, but if they have figured it out now, and we're going to find out against Tennessee, a team that swept them in the regular season, so there's going to be extra motivation on the Wildcats to come out and win handily.
Matty B, the line on that is Tennessee -1.5. Would you say Kentucky would be a good play here?
Me personally, yes. Just with the way they've been playing and experience of Calipari, I think that plays a factor.
If you'd ask 10 people who the head coach of Tennessee Volunteer basketball team is, then 9 out of 10 would not know. Do you know, Tommy D?
No.
Bruce Pearl.
Who?
I know that name now that you say it.
Who?
No, that's not him. That's
crap, see? He used to coach it, right?
Yeah, that's right, he did.
Okay, so that's
who was the head coach?
Loved me some Bruce Pearl. That man was always entertaining to watch.
He did a good job.
Rick Barnes.
Yeah, Rick Barnes.
The current
Texas.
head coach.
He came from Texas.
That's exactly
right.
right.
I know a little bit, but I just didn't know who it was.
Tennessee's been surprising. They've been surprising. This is the second year Barnes has been there. Tennessee has been very good. What has surprised you? I mean, we talked about sleepers yesterday. We talked about teams that are in. Who are the teams that should be scared, Matty B, at this hour?
Scared of not making the tournament?
No, scared of having to go ahead and fly out of their zones to come to the West Coast.
We're talking sleepers and stuff, so I didn't know we were going back to teams that could, you'd be scared of the higher seed.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No, but teams that should be scared?
Let me rephrase it.
There's a few.
Please let me rephrase the question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Matty B, tell me who would be scared of not making the tournament at this hour.
I think you've got Oklahoma, Arizona State. I think St. Mary's should be scared. I think Middle Tennessee should be scared. I think Notre Dame should be worried for how much they lost without Bonzie Colson. And I think any team like Louisville or Syracuse or Oklahoma State, these teams that are right there and they have a lot of wins, but they also have a lot of losses. And the way they're looking at this new quadrant crap, it's just, you take a team. You take my two teams, Michigan State and Arizona. Any other year, Michigan State's a 1, Arizona's a 2. This year, we're looking at Michigan State as a 3 and Arizona as a 4. This whole quadrant crap where they were actually talking about a 9-loss Carolina team being a 1 seed if they'd won yesterday against Virginia. I have never seen any 1 seed more than 4 losses, maybe.
What about
it's usually 2 or 3 losses on the year, and you win your tournament, or not you win your conference, and you have 29 wins, and you're not even discussed as a 1 seed or a 2 seed. You're a 3 seed in your Michigan State State, a 4 seed in Arizona. This is insane. It's a crazy year that we haven't seen before.
2 questions I have for you. All right, Matty B. What about Vermont?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Vermont, they won 16
Stop
games.
joking.
They won 16 games in a row and then got beat in their conference finals. And the second thing is that I want to ask you, and excuse my ignorance for asking you this, but why is it so important for seeding? I mean, you got to play the game, so, why is it important if you're a 5 or a 6?
It's important. It's important for matchups. It's important for the quality of the team that you'll be facing, but those also can go both ways. You can get a team that's a lower quality that ends up matching up well with you, and you don't want to see that. You'd rather be a higher seed that you have a more likelihood of facing a worse team. That's why it matters.
Okay.
Obviously, the 16s are worse than the 15s, who are worse than the 14s, and so forth. And so you want to be a 1 if you can, because then you're facing the easiest team to face.
All right.
Versus 3, which has been beaten, a 4 has been beaten, 5, so forth and so on. A 1 hasn't. A 2 is a couple times. After that, it's a little shaky.
All right. A 16 has never beaten a 1.
Yes. That has never happened.
A 15 has beaten a 2.
Yes.
Who's that? Do you remember?
8 times.
Do you remember the last one that happened?
Yes, the last one was Michigan State and Middle Tennessee State.
And Middle Tennessee State beat Michigan State?
Yes, they did.
How'd you feel that day?
I was upset but not surprised, because that was the year where Michigan State couldn't force turnovers to save their lives, and it finally bit them where they weren't able to catch up because they couldn't force the turnovers to catch up.
All right, so where do you think Michigan State will be seeded this year?
I think they're a 3 seed this year with the way that they're looking at things. They got Purdue as a 2 seed, who Michigan State beat head-to-head, whose Michigan State's record is better than, whose Michigan State's better record in the Big Ten, winning the Big Ten outright by themselves. They didn't share it. They won it outright. But because the Big Ten is quote-unquote down, because Michigan State only played Michigan once in the regular season, Purdue once in the regular season, Ohio State once in the regular season, they're getting penalized for it. They're ignoring the fact that they beat North Carolina on a neutral court. It was a great game to start the year. They beat the crap out of a healthy Notre Dame. But they had a bad week and a half in January, lost 3 games, and then had a bad showing against Michigan in the Big Ten tournament. And so you got Michigan State now looking at a 3 seed, and possibly where Duke is a 2 seed in the latest projections I've seen.
Hody ho, hody ho, 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 ho. As we go, I would ask you this, that it's going to be an incredible first round. Who do you think Michigan State would match up? I mean, if you were just going to go ahead and grab a couple teams out of the air without knowing, anything more than what you do know, who do you think might be the most likely opponent for Michigan State?
Well, you're talking about a 3 seed, which means you're talking about going against a 14. And a 14 would be a team that is not playing today, did not play yesterday. They won their conference tournament the other night, and, one of the ones where the team with the best record is the one playing home to the tournament. So take your pick of a Lipscomb and UMBC and all these other little ones.
Who?
These are teams that are in the Liberty Champion and the.
What about Buffalo? UB.
Hey, I'll tell you what. You better keep your eye on Buffalo.
Yeah, it could be Buffalo.
They pounded yesterday again. They won by 17 again yesterday. Did they not?
I saw that.
I mean, they're pounding. I mean, I don't know what's going on. This kid must be really good. They got a guard back there that's supposed to be really, really good. Buffalo has just been playing underneath the radar. They've been pounding everybody. I think, every time I looked up, they won by double digits. So,
You're talking about Wes Clark?
Yeah.
With Buffalo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's he averaging?
26 yesterday?
Yeah. What's he averaging?
Good question.
I think he's averaging 22 or 23 a game. I think I remember seeing and researching it.
No, 14 and a half, 3 rebounds, 5 assists.
Oh yeah, he was averaging 20-some during the MAC tournament.
Yeah, but folks who listen and know basketball said 14 and a half in college is not 14 and a half in the pros. That's 23 and a half in the pros. The 14 and a half in college, that's impressive to average that for your season.
Why do you say that?
It's just you got to think about the fact of how young these guys are and the minutes they're playing. They're playing less minutes. They're not playing a full game like the NBA, so there's less time to get their numbers. And the way college is run, it's just your stars don't always just take over every game. So for this kid to average 15 points a game throughout the entire season, that's impressive.
Yeah, I agree. This kid from the Utah Jazz, Murray?
Yes.
Where do you go to college? Do you know?
No. Top of my head, I do not.
You don't know? All right.
Nope.
You find out and get back to us?
Sure.
All right, we'll wait. What do you think, Tommy D? We'll wait for Matty B to get back to us?
I wouldn't wait. I mean, you sprung a random-ass question on me, so take your time. You can go do something else.
No, we're waiting for you, man, because you know what? You are the Google of the bottom line.
Yeah, literally what I'm doing.
Well, guys, I wanted to bring up yesterday that Virginia impressively winning the ACC over North Carolina, and I think they got one loss. They're going into the tournament strong, and they're still Virginia.
Virginia's a good ball club.
They're phenomenal. I think they're very underrated every year because they aren't the highlight reel. They're not that team that's gonna with all the big name players, but they always get it done. I mean, if you look at their stats, I think they've been in 4 consecutive ACC tournament championships, Virginia. So they're there every year with the Duke, with North Carolina, all these big schools. Syracuse, I'll throw in there too. But Louisville. I mean, ACC just tore through it. One loss this year. You got to pay attention to Virginia, guys.
Yeah, I agree with you. Donovan Mitchell is the guy's name that we're talking about from the Utah Jazz. He went to the University of Louisville. This guy could really, really play. And when you talk about guard play, in the pros, going from the colleges to the pros, and how you have improved, like Matty B just mentioned. That is a reason why I would have to agree with him, because Mitchell does not play like a rookie at all, and the Utah Jazz are a very good team. Virginia, Tony Bennett Jr., head coach there, has just a real seasoned team there. They play like a team. They pass the ball. Captain, who is the team that you're going to be looking at with the draw coming up today, with Selection Sunday? Who's your team? All right, Captain is gone. Captain, we'll check in with you next week. Thanks for joining us on this bottom line. But we go back to you, Tommy. Who's your team?
My team going into it, I guess I'm in touting Virginia, so I guess I got to stay with Virginia.
That's not a bad team.
I mean, you know what? And I know they're going to be a number one seed, but they still get overlooked by all these bigger programs.
100%.
You know, I mean, not many people are going to be like, Virginia's the champion. You know, they're going to have it on their Final Four. So
nobody's really talking about Virginia, and that has been quite surprising to me. Is the ACC a down year, Matty B?
It's hard to say when a team's got like 7 locks for the NCAA tournament that it's a down year. But when you look at the conference records of teams like Duke and teams like North Carolina, you say, yeah, it's been a little bit of a down year. This ACC is looking a little bit more like the Big Ten looks or the Big 12 looks at times, where they're beating each other up and hurting their overall conference with that look. But then you look at Virginia and the fact that they only lost one game in the ACC, and it's, well, I mean, they're either unbelievably impressive, and this was a regular year in the ACC, or they're just impressive until absolutely number one seed, best record in college basketball, but the ACC was down a little bit this year. I mean, it's hard to, I mean, you know, Colson getting hurt for Notre Dame definitely hurt it. The scandal with stuff with Louisville definitely hurt it. Syracuse is having a down year for sure. So you've got a bunch of teams that are usually involved that aren't as involved this year.
Syracuse down year. Oh, Tommy D, smoke is coming out of his ears here in the studio. Oh, Matty B, on a Sunday, you should not.
He can't be mad about that. Tommy D knows that as well as anyone.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, why are you going to wake a sleeping dog?
You asked about the ACC. I'm just talking about the ACC.
But why would you say Syracuse is having a down year? Don't
Matty
you?
B, after all these weeks I've been sticking up for
Tommy,
you.
I am not attacking you, buddy.
No, I know you're not. I know Syracuse is struggling this year, but they're one of those teams, they can win a couple games in the tournament.
What tournament?
Yeah, but
If they get
they're
in.
not making it
Maybe
now, so you better hope on winning the NIT.
No, the AAU.
Hey, guys, come on. Give me a little bit of chance here.
No, Tommy, I'm talking about
Okay, all right. You're right. Okay. Matty B, you got me pumped up yesterday, though.
Yeah, you got
You gave me a chance yesterday. I didn't think I had a chance, and then I heard from you I might have a chance.
You know what? He was loving you, bro.
That was nice.
You.
I know. That
Look,
today.
You have the resume of regular years. You should be in as, you know, that 10 seed or whatever that they throw the ones out there. Like they were they were a 10 seed, right, when they made the Final Four?
Yep, and that was a team that I did not think they were going to make it.
Exact same kind of year where we're going, I don't know if they're making it. But they did a little bit more at the end of the year to help their chances.
Yeah,
you did a lot more at the beginning and then faltered at the end to hurt your chances.
You know, I was driving yesterday after the radio program. I listened to these guys on ESPN radio, and they were pretty darn good. I have to admit, I don't know who they were, but they were doing a selection mock show, so to speak, and whoever the spokesman was on was pretty adamant about the Big 12. And I was just thinking, and I want to toss this over to you, Matty B, as well as I want Tommy's opinion in regard. This gentleman started talking about the Big 12, how they beat each other up all year long. Baylor's 5-1 against Texas, Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma. Kansas State is knocked off Oklahoma. Oklahoma State beat Kansas twice, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking, with the NCAA, which this is the biggest payday for the NCAA, is March Madness, without any doubt. So let me ask you this. Do you think that simply because Trae Young is the face of the Big 12 for half of the Big 12. I would think Devontae Graham is that his name? Devontae Graham from Kansas?
Yep.
See, the fact that you don't even know his name for sure tells me that your statement is already wrong. Trae Young is the face of the Big 12.
What's that?
Trae Young's the face of the Big 12, plain and simple. There is no co. Trae Young is the face of the Big 12.
Okay. All right. So you're going to call me out on that?
No, I'm just saying, no. I wasn't calling you out on that. I'm just making that the fact that you, Felix, weren't sure is enough to tell me Trae Young's the face.
Well,
because no one else is going to know it all. If you weren't sure, no one else is going to know it all.
I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure of that because who's the player of the year?
But they know who Trae Young is. They know who Trae Young is.
Yeah, but who's the player of the year?
We're not talking about that. We're talking about who's getting all the publicity.
Yeah.
All the publicity was going to Trae Young.
All right. You're right. Okay. I love you. Okay. So let me ask you this. So for that reason alone, do you think and do you believe that the committee will get Oklahoma an invite because that enhances the coziness, the sexiness of the tournament?
I'd have a hard time, accepting it because while they have, I think 6 quadrant 1 wins, you went 8-10 in your conference. You haven't won away from home in 2 months, and you've lost 9 of your last 10 games, 9 of your last 11 games.
Yeah, I mean they've been horrible.
You've been absolutely horrible. So I think back to Ben Simmons at LSU. He was one of the faces of college basketball. His LSU was not a good team. They were right around this same little bubble area, and it was all around Simmons and what he had done on the court to shock people. And if I remember correctly, to the NIT. I don't think they made the big dance.
All righty, we're going to find out here. We're getting closer to Selection Sunday. Live from the WS Radio Network, this is The Bottom Line. Tommy D, Matty B, the captain. Back after this. You take your smartphone almost everywhere you go. Now WSRadio.com can be there too. Search WS Radio in the Play Store for your Android devices or iTunes for Apple and download the WS Radio application. WSRadio.com on your phone and in your ear everywhere you go. Download the WS Radio application. Do it now. It's very easy. WSRadio.com.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on Vin Village Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. Vin Village connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on VinVillage.com. Vin Village is where wine lovers connect.
You've heard me bragging about Progressive Medical Center and how they've helped me feel so much healthier. But one thing, Dr. Agoli, that a lot of people come to you with is just unexplained pain. They just can't get any relief. Why can Progressive Medical Center's Pain Management Center help them?
First of all, we have to acknowledge that pain is for real, and you've got acute pain and chronic pain. Here's the problem. That acute pain turns to chronic, which is long-standing, and no one's getting to the root cause. There's several key diagnostic components that help us get to the root of what's causing this pain. Is it inflammation? Once we do a thorough evaluation to get to the root cause, determine if it's structural or if it's a metabolic issue. And this way, we put an individualized program for pain management involving correcting the spine, using certain injections when necessary, and we get our patients out of pain quicker, and they stay out of pain because we teach them how to live their life well.
Don't let yourself live in pain any longer. Get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today at ProgressiveMedicalCenter.com.
Progressive Medical, this is your life, live it well.
Life is full of misadventures, from car crashes to home fires to getting choked out on the mat. Yes, I said getting choked out because I'm Carlos Kramer, jiu-jitsu competitor, MMA and media personality, and mild-mannered insurance agent. You can follow my adventures on Kick-Ass Radio, and I can protect you from life's misadventures at Kramer Insurance. Home, auto, life, business, and workers' comp. We're at KramerINS.com, and I want you to join my world.
I've heard this is like one of the best pizza spots in town.
Yes, it is.
I'll do a slice of pepperoni, slice of vegetarian.
You got it.
And I will pay for all of that in 3 days.
In 3 days?
What's that mean? Well, wait, you accept credit cards. That money's not going to hit your account for 3 days anyway.
I need my money quicker.
At Chase, we hear you. With Express Funding, card payments are in your Chase account the next business day. Go to chase.com/expressfunding. Chase for business, so you can.
Compensated participation. All businesses are subject to credit approval. Not all clients are eligible for next business day funding, and additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
Welcome to the Bottom Line Sports Show, an inside look at all game day sports action. From Major League Baseball to college football and basketball, the NFL and the NBA, key matchups, developments, point spreads and totals, line changes and game analysis. It's a radio show that talks its name. The Bottom Line from San Diego. It's game time with the Bottom Line Sports Show.
It sure is on a Sunday. From rainy San Diego on this championship Saturday across the country with Selection Sunday. Just less than. Let me just see how we can get rid of that. There we go, right there. More than 24. There we go. All right, my bad. We're recording here. We are back here in San Diego. I'm Felix Taverna, along with Matty B back in Boston. We are joined with the head basketball coach of the Horned Frogs from TCU, and that's my friend Jamie Dixon. Jamie, at top of the morning, how you doing?
Good, Bill. How you doing, man? Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you, too. Getting ready for Selection Sunday?
We are, no question about it. We'll have a little practice here today, a little lift, and watch some video, and then we'll go see the selection show at 5 o'clock our time. So, you know, we got excited about it. I mean, Dallas would be nice, but San Diego wouldn't be bad either for a location. But who knows where you end up.
So you feel pretty confident that your body of work, your resume is good enough to get an invite?
Oh, yeah, we're good. I see from the ones I've looked at, and they're pretty good on the numbers, you know, the seeds, where you're going to end up. I mean, it's pretty obvious what you can do. So we're probably a 6 seed. You know, all the metrics, the computer rankings were anywhere from 24 being the lowest and the best being, I think, 18 in the VPI, 21 Ken Palm. So, I mean, we're right there in that 5, 6, 7 category. So, looks like 6 for us.
Well, good luck to you. Jamie, let me talk a little bit about the Big 12. I personally thought this year was the best top-to-bottom conference in all of college basketball. How rugged of a campaign was the regular season?
Well, first off, you start with playing everybody twice. That's the thing that's a challenge in itself. You're not going to get, you know, an unbalanced schedule. Maybe you get the down teams twice, and so nobody's going to be in that situation. And maybe the good teams once. That ain't going to happen. So you're going to play everybody twice. You're going to know them. Hard to beat a team a second time. And there's just a familiarity, unlike the ACC or the Big East where I come from, because there were so many teams. But just you know, there's 9 teams fighting right now. Of the 10, 9, I think 4 of them were on the bubble, and then we're in, obviously, and then Kansas, West Virginia, Texas Tech are in. I think Kansas State got moved off the bubble with their win against us. So that put them, even though their RPI is in the 50s. So they're pretty solid. But after that, man, there's about 4 teams in our conference that are either in or out right now. And that would make it 9 out of 10, which would be unheard of.
Jamie Dixon is joining us live on the Bottom Line from San Diego, along with Matty B, Tommy D. I'm Felix Taverna. A pleasure to have Jamie. Jamie, your second year as the head basketball coach at TCU. What a quick turnaround. You have revitalized that program. I know that the fan support, the alumni support has been over the top. Did you ever expect or dream that success, how much success is according to how you perceive it, but did you ever think that it could happen so quickly?
Well, I mean, on paper, I never put a timeline on it, so that I knew we would get it done. I knew we'd become a perennial NCAA tournament team, and I really didn't put a time limit on. So what I said to our guys was, I expect to win, and we expect to win now, and there was no rebuild. And that was the message I had to get across. It's when you take over a job, most people go and say, I need time, give me years. And I just think that holds you back. It's an excuse. And so we went with that. And we had some good players, so fortunately that was the case. I thought there were some guys here. We added the right guys. And so I know a lot of people have told me you turned it too quick because that makes everybody else think they got to get it done that quick. But we're pretty good. I thought we were even better, to be honest. We just didn't win a lot of close games this year. All our losses were close. But maybe we'll get it figured out down here because they're going to be close games in the NCAA tournament.
Well, you played well, and we'll get into some of the injuries that you had, too. You weren't playing at full force during the second half of that year, and I thought your coaching, I watched every single one of your games. I am one of the big TCU fans here in San Diego, and there's quite a following. Let me toss it over to our man, Matty B. in Boston. Matty B. for Jamie Dixon, head basketball coach at TCU.
Coach, nice talking to you again. Congratulations on really a phenomenal year, going from the NIT last year to absolutely making it into the NCAA tournament this year. 20-plus wins on the season, and what has already Felix mentioned, a trial there, having to fight through the Big 12. My question, though, is, injury bug hitting you obviously definitely hurt, but guys win 15 of your 21 games at home. How do you get this squad to play the way they play at home away from their friendly confines?
Well, we had a couple of neutral games, and we won all those. So, we were 3-0 in neutral court games. Our conference is so tough, the road games. And I think that timing when we played some of them hurt us because we were down to 7 guys. So that hurt us. But like I said, we beat St. Bonaventure, who's going to be in the tournament, and New Mexico, who almost got in the tournament, but San Diego State beat them last night and in a neutral court game. And then, of course, we beat Nevada in a neutral court game. So they're both in the definitely NCAA tournament teams, and almost New Mexico could have been the third. So we played good on neutral courts. We beat them both pretty good, pretty handily. And one New Mexico game we actually struggled, but won down the stretch. So we've played good in that. So there's not going to be any true road games per se in this thing, and going forward here. So I think we'll be fine. We're hard to guard. We got to get better defensively. We got to make free throws down the stretch. That's hurt us the last couple games. But I think we're a hard matchup for a lot of teams because of the way we shoot the ball. So it'll be interesting to see who we get.
No, absolutely. You say you got to get better defensively. When we talk defense, usually defense is effort. How do you get better defensively this late in the season?
Yeah, I think that's sometimes people think it's effort, but I think one of our deficiencies is just playing 8 guys, 8-man rotation. Our losses, we've always been in foul trouble, and we've had to play guys with their hands in their pockets, and that's hurt us. And I usually like to have a 9-man rotation and have a couple other guys ready to go. We didn't have that at all, and so that's hurt us. I think just a lot of new guys, so it's taken a little while defensively. We've gotten better. There's no question. We've improved. Our numbers show that. And we're just not built. I mean, we're not a big, strong, physical team. We're not athletic, and when you compare it against the top teams. So we do have some challenges there. But we've gotten better understanding, and somehow we've got to stay out of foul trouble. And that's something that we've looked at and tried to. We've played zone. It hasn't been effective. We've done some different things, but when we've stayed out of foul trouble, we've been pretty good defensively.
Jamie Dixon joining us on the bottom line along with Matty B. I'm Felix Taverna. Jamie, I followed your entire career, and it was a little heartbreaking to hear 2 years ago that you were leaving my hometown of Pittsburgh to take over the basketball program at TCU, your alma mater. Oh, what was behind the decision? Why did you decide to leave Pitt and take the TCU job?
Well, I'd been there 17 years, and that's a long time. That's an impossibility almost in college coaching. But I planned on being there. I played every day and practiced every day and worked every day on finishing my career there. But there was the challenge of going and being the opportunity of rebuilding, or actually just really starting up a program at TCU, my alma mater, that gave me a shot. Gave me a scholarship. 100 years ago. So I think there was that. A lot of changes. I had 9 athletic directors when I was at Pitt. 9 different ones. There was 9 different football coaches, head football coaches when I was there during my head coaching period. So it just seemed to change, and that was really it. And then you have your school, your alma mater, really committing to you, and it happened overnight. It happened so quick. I just didn't think it, but. We love Pittsburgh. We're going back. My daughter's got confirmation there in May. She's going to get confirmed with her class, so whole family will go back. We've been back plenty, and we loved it there, and we love it here. So, it was fortunately I had a spot that I always wanted to do, and it was sitting there waiting for me. So, what a great challenge, and I feel like I'm doing something I always dreamed of doing.
Well, the Pitt Panthers 0-19 in the ACC this year. You got a feel for that city and that program. You were consistently in the hunt, and I could remember some of the great games that you coached for the Pitt Panthers in the Big East, when the Big East was the real Big East and in the tournament itself. And it's pretty sad to see Kevin Stallings lose his job after 2 years, going 0-19. But in this college game, in basketball is now equal to football as far as money brought into the university. You have to win, you have to get people in the seats, and you have to generate revenue for that basketball program. I know when we spoke last summer, when we had lunch together, that we spoke about a small gymnasium at TCU. Now that your school is only the enrollment is only 8,000, correct?
Yeah, you're just about there. Yeah, we're the smallest Power 5. Wake Forest is the smallest. We're the second smallest Power 5. So, as far as students, so yeah, we have a smaller arena, but we're sold out. Student turnout is terrific, and so we just Duke's got a small. We got about the same size arena as Duke. I think it's actually bigger than Duke. So, it's a great setup. It's a great arena. It's brand new. They've everything's been renovated. So it's really something. And the school is just doing great, as you said. And the people, we're doing so well. California kids love coming to TCU. So about a third of our students now are coming from California. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I'll be coming next year, too. I'd like to be able to take over the defensive strategies of TCU. I was watching a lot of basketball over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and I'm sure you have. Have you scouted some possibilities, some teams that you might project to be playing in the first round? And if so, who might they be?
We're in an interesting spot because if we're a 6th seed, we could be playing somebody that's playing in that playing game. So that's an interesting spot to be in. No, you can't really prepare. I mean, you have no idea. It changes. It's so fluid, even up to this weekend. So we just got finished. We got back Friday. I mean, you take a day off. You try to get them rested, and you see who you get come Sunday night here today. But it's a little different here because I thought about practicing after you get the selection, after the selection show, because of the time zone. But we started to practice early and then find out. But out west, you probably could practice afterwards with the time zone. So I never even considered that back east. I've always been in the it'd be too late to practice once you get the selection, the media, and all that stuff out of the way.
Jamie Dixon, head basketball coach, TCU. They're on their way to the tournament. They'll sit around as a team this afternoon, like most college basketball teams and universities, and find out who's in, who's out. Jamie, the Big 12, again, we talk about it. I did send you a radio version of a former selection committee guru who talked about the Big 12. Oklahoma State. In your opinion, do either one of them deserve a bid, or do both of them deserve a bid?
Well, I was just with Coach Boyton yesterday while I was out recruiting, and so I saw him in the gym in Oklahoma, and so I told him I hope they get in. I think that there's a challenge. Oklahoma's definitely in. They had the number one strength of schedule in the country, and ours was 8 the last time I saw it. Again, that's fluid as well. So, yeah, you reward the teams that go out and play people, and I think that will get in Oklahoma. Even though they finished with a struggle, I do believe that their strength of schedule will be the determining factor in getting them in.
Oklahoma State out?
I didn't see what's happening today, and if we got some bid stealers, but they are right on the last couple. I know that. So I hope they get in. I think they could, but what the CB the Davidson could take one today. There's someone else I think that could take a bid if I'm not mistaken. So. That stuff all factors in. The San Diego State stole a bid last night, when Nevada got upset. So there's a couple spots disappear just with these upsets.
Yeah, we were watching it. Nevada was beaten Friday night by San Diego State. San Diego State led by 30 going to the locker room at halftime, and just went on to cruise in that game. Now in the finals, Utah State, who took care of Boise State, who was the second seed in the Mountain West, then took care of New Mexico took care of Utah State Friday night. That set up the Mountain West, where San Diego State now with a 10-game win streak. Back to you, Matty B. Jamie Dixon, head basketball coach, TCU, joining us on the Bottom Line.
Coach, I got to ask you the coach's point of view, what you feel about the idea with a quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, all this stuff, because I grew up, my parents are both alumni of Michigan State, so I've grown up a Spartan. I went to Arizona, so I myself am a Wildcat. And both my teams seem to be getting such disrespect. When you look at their overall records, and, we look at years past of teams that are 1 seeds or 2 seeds, and in Michigan State's case, they have 4 losses in the season, beat North Carolina, a neutral site, won their conference outright regular season. Arizona, same thing, won their conference tournament, and yet they're being talked of as 3 and 4 seeds because of this new quadrant system. How do you feel in the first year with this new quadrant system?
Well, I don't know if I heard all your question, but it's so much comes into strength of schedule, and there's more talk on these quadrants this year. And that will have an impact as well. They've given more value to neutral court games and home games. So, the Pac-10, Pac-12, I should say, the numbers don't lie. I mean, they didn't have a great season across the board, and so it's hard to get those quality wins in that conference because you're just not playing the top 50. Top 25 at home, the top 50 at neutral, and top 75 on the road, and that's how you get the quadrant 1 win. So, it's the way it's set up. Schedule is so huge, and that's why we really spend a lot of time of it. And then, obviously, we were lucky because we had the Big 12, and we had so many quadrant 1 games on our schedule. But I'm used to that. I'm in the ACC, the Big East. I've been doing that my whole life. My goal is to be in the toughest conference in the country every year of my career, it seems, because that's what I've been doing. So, but you got to factor it in, and you almost got to do more than other conferences if you know the Pac-12 is going to be down. It's just the way it is, And you can say but there's no surprise that the Pac-12 is one of the, probably the 5th of the Power 5s. Everybody knew it, going in. So. You got to be realistic too when you schedule.
I saw some of the Big 12 or the Pac-12 games this year, and especially I saw that UCLA-Arizona game where it went to overtime and UCLA did not score a point. The Pac-12 has been just horrible this year. I think Arizona caught fire at the right time and righted the ship. Secondly, quadrant, I never understood what all this is. I was just understanding RPI and all the other essentials that go into qualifying to get a bid. But I wanted to ask a couple other questions in regard to you and some of your friends, Jamie. Ben Holland in Mississippi State. I know that you worked under him. You were very, very close with him. Matter of fact, when I met you at the Staples Center at one of the Pac-12, or I can't remember where it was, what kind of game it was. I know it was a basketball game. It was many, many years ago. You worked under Ben Holland. What a marvelous job he has done at Mississippi State.
Yeah, Ben and I will talk today. They're right on the bubble, too. From what it looks like, and he's done a good job. It's year two, and they were really down when he got there, and he's brought a really new group in. He got young guys, so I think they're going to be really good next year. He's excited, but I'll be talking to him later today. He's a California guy too, as well, and he gave me my first break and chance, and he recruited me out of high school, so that's how far back we go. So when he was at Santa Barbara, so it's there's not a lot of us California coaches in the coaching at the Power 5 level, but there's two of them.
Well, two good guys there as well. I wanted to get back and ask you that, last year you won the NIT, and that was your first year of being at the helm as the head basketball coach at TCU. Prior to getting to TCU, the culture must have been the bottom of the pit. How did you restore it piece by piece?
I used the phrase, a lot of people come and talk about a rebuild, but I used the phrase a startup because we were in a new conference, the Big 12. We've been in 9 different conferences over the last 25 years or something. And there was a new commitment. We had a new arena, obviously a new coach, new staff, new players. I use the phrase startup just to say, we can't do anything about the past. This is who we are now, and this is where it's all about going forward. So there wasn't a lot to talk about, what we didn't have good players or why we didn't win here, why we didn't there. It was a new day, a new commitment, and a new level of play for us. And that was the mentality. And we didn't use excuses, and we didn't use give me time phrase. I need to get my own guys in there. You got to win with the guys you got there, and add the right guys around them. And that was our mentality.
When I look at basketball across the board, conference by conference, and Matty B and I have been doing this show for about 2 years now, and along with our producer, Tommy D, who is listening as he heads into a realm of a business transaction outside the studio on this Sunday morning. One thing that I've been keeping my eyes open, I like to watch teams that when their coaches call timeout, how they respond to the coach's instruction. And, I saw the closeness of your team, and, I watched that game against Kansas State where you hit the 3 to send it into overtime, and then I think a bad call was called against you that gave Kansas State the opportunity to have a final shot that eventually went in and eliminated you from the conference tournament. 2 questions I have for you, Jamie Dixon. Are you pro or con in regard to conference tournaments?
They're great. I'm all for them. I think they're special. I think they're done right. Now there's all different levels of it. I mean, ours, the Power 5 ones, you can put them at a neutral court and you're going to draw. You have great crowds. I would like to see the mid-major ones. Some of them, a lot of them, maybe more at the home site. and just playing games till you get there. And that protects the winner. That protects the winner of the conference, and you're going to get your best team in the tournament. But so many times in the mid majors, you're not getting your best team in the NCAA tournament. And you only get one team in there. You'd like to have your best team, and that's the team that won over an 18-game period. So that's just my thought on it. I think it'd be better to protect the team that won the championship as best they could.
Well, I'm a big proponent of regular season, and my friend, the late Jerry Tarkanian, who I picked his brains, and I would sit down with him and talk defenses. He showed me the amoeba. He showed me the hard eight. He showed me a lot of different defenses that he employed when he was the head coach at UNLV and won his NCAA basketball championship. And he always said that, that teams shouldn't be punished for their regular season. You get into a conference, look at like this team, Vermont or Middle Tennessee State, where they, during the regular seasons, they win their regular seasons, and then during a conference tournament, they get knocked off, and that ends perhaps the bid. Matty B, we got about 4.5 minutes before we close in on it. A final question for head basketball coach of the Horned Frogs, TCU, in the Big 12. They're going to be dancing a little bit later on this afternoon. You take it away, Matty B.
All right, Coach, I'm looking at latest projections, and I've seen both sides. I've seen you guys as a 6 seed taking on 11. I've seen you guys as an 8 seed taking on a 9. Would you prefer being a higher seed like a 6, or would you prefer playing closer to Texas?
Yeah, we've got the Dallas site. I'm on those boards, and we have these discussions, and the belief is you want to have your seed. You want to be the what you're supposed to be, but they can move you up or down the line based on proximity, location, and that does create some issues. It does give some teams some advantages, and it does give some teams disadvantages. So it is interesting how it plays out. I think, but I just I've been consistent with this. I just think that they're going by your true seed. And when we were at Pittsburgh, rarely did we have we were always traveling because of our location and different sites. We had the occasional Pittsburgh event, but usually we were going far and ended up out west a lot. And it's a challenge. We never travel. It's hard to get guys to travel short term like that when you're traveling far. But I want to have our seed. I think we're a 6, and that's where we should be. We've done that. I don't know how we don't become a 6, but somebody could get moved, and that's how you become a 7 or a 5, just based on that.
Well, let's hope that maybe you'll match up with a San Diego State at the Viejas Arena in San Diego. That would be great. And if indeed you guys get out here, my friend, block out one night prior to the tournament if we can, because I got reservations at a great steakhouse that I would love to treat you to dinner and renew our friendship. But I've been rooting all year long. Got Jimmy O's up there at Del Mar as a TCU men's